Happy Wednesday.
Hi everyone. I'm Melissa from the Parent Collective. This is Alisa from Balance Being.
Hello.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Glad to be
We've
here.
had so many questions, so we're so excited to fly all these questions at you. What I'll do is I'll ask you question by question.
Okay.
And then when you feel you're ready to move on to the next one, just let me know. So I'm going to refer to my iPhone. Bit of brand recognition there. I'll have a free one. Thanks, Apple. Okay, so the first question that I had was, what are the common reactions that you can expect from your oldest when the new baby arrives home? Because I think that's a really common one that people are scared of.
So there's a variety of sort of feelings, reactions, emotions toward the baby. One of them is they're really interested. Another one can be that they're sort of unsure, sort of weary. And sometimes they might have a reaction where they're like, no baby, or sort of more negative
Let's pretend that they're not
reactions.
there, and then maybe they might go away.
Yes, or what about me? That sort of thing. So there's a variety of reactions, and I think that kids can change and go from, being interested to sort of not being interested, or having more of those overtly verbalized or even physical sort of reactions of like, no, not wanting baby around, wanting it to be about them, or having mom or dad's attention.
Yeah. Yes.
So all those are normal.
Okay, good, because this is what I was going to say.
Yes.
But they're all normal. There's nothing that you need to necessarily worry
Yes.
about with any of those reactions. So
Yes, I would expect a variety of reactions, and it also depends on the child's age.
yes, of course. So this was actually going to be my next question to you.
Yeah.
So will the child's age impact their reaction?
I think it definitely does, because when you have little guys who are really, really young, say if there's like 13 months between them,
Which is very typical, isn't
yes,
it? Yeah.
Can
So close in age.
that they're not really very verbal, and they're just young, where they're kind of like in their own world and they have their own little, they're running all around the place. I think that they're less likely to sort of maybe understand it or get it.
Yeah.
Whereas if when you have maybe an older child who's maybe 2.5 or 3 or even 4, they're able to sort of verbalize things more and express themselves better.
Yeah.
And they do take notice of the baby, obviously. They're more aware of themselves and their surroundings than, say, a 13-month-old.
Of course, which makes complete sense.
Yes.
Yeah, of course. Okay, great. And, this is going to be, so this, I know when I brought home my second, what are the common negative feelings that they may get towards the siblings?
Okay, so we're talking
Because I think
about...
this has to be every mum and dad's worry, doesn't it? That they're going to come home and they're going to beat on the child.
If it gets to that point, then we want to separate and sort of like make sure everybody's safe. Especially with the little guys too, that you do watch them, because they might
don't leave them alone. Would you say that?
Yes.
Yeah, in the beginning.
Yes. Especially if they're sort of active and walking around, you don't want them to be thinking they're feeding the baby and maybe put Cheerios in their mouth. Like, you just, it's just, they don't know. But that's a whole other, that's a whole other
topic, isn't it?
So the negative feelings that you might witness going on for your little guy is some jealousy. Because they're not used to sharing sort of the attention. It might be just about them in the past. And now it's like, wait a second, mommy's talking to this baby, mommy's always doing something with this baby or daddy, and so they have trouble sort of understanding that or waiting, because it's hard for kids to wait.
Yes.
Delay of gratification is, as you get older, you get better at that.
Yeah.
So little kids don't really know how to wait as well.
And actually, one of the things that I found that it doesn't necessarily affect your little one straight away, like the older ones. Sometimes it affects them 2 weeks later, like the baby comes home and they're fine in the first couple of weeks. You think, oh yeah, I've got this down, this is great. They just gelled immediately, and then a month later they're pooing on the kitchen floor. So it can be a delayed reaction as well, can't it?
Yes, I think that they might not understand this new baby or conceptualize it that they're staying.
Yeah.
So after a while, it's like, they kind of catch on to that.
Yeah.
So it might be a delay. At first, so it's novel. It's like a new thing. Oh, the baby! It's so exciting. The baby's here. But then after a while, they might have these sort of reactions and change, and that's where it can flip flop back and forth.
Yeah. I've got a really funny story that a friend of mine in England. So she had an older boy, and then the littlest one was a girl. And when she first arrived, it was lovely, and they said it was amazing. And then after about 2 weeks, he kept on going to her, bye bye.
Like, when are you leaving?
Bye bye. You
Bye,
can go
baby.
now. Yeah. Yeah, she stayed, obviously. Brilliant, Lisa, thank you.
But they're verbalizing, that's their way of saying, wait, what's going on?
I'm done with you now. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so what are the different ways that your child might communicate? And I know we've just briefly touched on that now, haven't we? But what are some of the different ways that your child might communicate these feelings to you?
Yes.
It could be negative, it could be positive.
Yeah, so when children communicate, and also depending on their age, if they're a little older, they do have more verbal skills.
Yes.
So they're able to say things, express themselves a little bit better than a little guy, little guy. So let's see, they can do it verbally, like I said, actually tell you. Another way that children communicate is through play. So if they're in the kitchen or have their little play toys or dressing up, or children communicate their thoughts and feelings, and they create themes through their play. So sometimes when you don't really know what's going on for a kid, if you just ask them to sort of play and you just kind of observe and not prompt them, you'll get a lot out of it. They might have, they might be playing mommy. They might be, oh, the baby's here and let's rock the baby. Or it might be like, no baby. Like they might be saying no baby, and it's just you can tell a lot by what their imaginative play.
Yes, of course. That makes complete sense. That makes complete sense, especially if they can't verbalize exactly how they're feeling.
Yes.
So my question to you is, what are some of the common behaviours that you would see when you bring the baby home? I mean, you might get. I know from a friend in England, the baby got hit. Yeah. So you might get physical, but that doesn't mean that there's something really badly wrong.
No. Just as little kids, even whether they're in school, whether they're home, learning how to navigate the world and just get their needs met. A lot of times they can hit, they can bite, because they don't know how to verbalize things. They don't know how to sort of contain and manage their emotions. So they might do all these things, and that's just typical of toddlers.
And they're trying to tell you something, aren't they? That's the thing. They're basically trying to give you a message, but
they can't communicate it verbally.
Exactly.
So that's another way that they can communicate, is through their behaviors, through their actions. Yeah. And that is why you have to keep an eye on the little, the older one and the babies, because they just don't know, and you have to be there to intervene.
Yeah, of course. So flicking from a baby, so let's say that if they're now 10 months old and 2 and a bit, what happens if they start to butt heads then? I mean,
so typically around then is when you do see some sort of a change, because at that point the babies are more mobile. Yeah, they're able to reach for things and grab for things.
Their other toys.
So before they might have just sat there. Yeah. But now it's like, wait a second, now they're starting to take my toys, and that's where you'll see, even if you put a toddler and a toddler together to get their toys, they can sometimes get a little physical. Yeah. So just being present for that, and just a way to teach children empathy, because when they're young, they don't quite understand. They just know that some their toys, being threatened or being taken away in a way, and that's theirs. Just sort of explaining to them that we have safe hands. We're to be gentle with baby. The baby doesn't understand, or just reinforcing and explaining to them in a simple words. It doesn't have to be a long paragraph, but just safe. We're safe with the baby, and gentle. You don't want to hurt the baby, and you're such a good big brother or sister. And look, the baby likes your toys. Yeah. You have some fun toys. Yeah. What can we show her? So that's another way to sort of.
Oh, that's genius.
It's like involving the baby. It's like, let's show the baby, your toys, and let's talk. Tell him or her what you like about your toys, and just sort of making it more like an engagement. Yeah, inclusive type of thing. Yes.
Jumping back to the baby thing again. Oh, I was going to ask you a question. Okay, I'll come back to that. It's gone right out of my head. Being live, obviously. Okay, so what do the behaviours mean? And I suppose, I think for every parent now, they probably want to know, how do you respond? So let's start with the baby. So the baby comes home. The older one is feeling very jealous, very negative. They might be crying a lot. They might be saying that they don't like the baby. They don't want the baby there.
Yes.
So let's deal first of all with babies that are very close, kids that are very close together.
Yes.
So like you said, maybe 13 to 15 months apart, something like that. So let's deal with that first. How do you deal with those behaviours when they're so little themselves?
So I think the biggest thing to sort of acknowledge is when you just have one, all your energy goes to them. So when you bring home another little guy, the behaviors might kind of amp up. They might be a little bit more needy. They might be acting out a little bit more. But I also think it's perspective too, because you have another child and because you're tired, you sometimes have less energy and sort of your fuse is shorter.
Yeah.
So what before might not have seemed like a negative sort of thing, or you wouldn't get upset about it, you might feel like, oh, why are they doing this again? Why are they being so needy? It's like you have less energy. So I think just acknowledging that is important, that our own sort of feelings and emotions are also like
need to be taken into consideration.
Yes.
Of course.
And to be sort of gentle with yourself in the sense of like, it's hard. You're gonna have, it's a lot emotionally and physically. So that was just kind of like a side note to how to sort of manage.
Oh, I'll tell you one of the things that I got given, which was, and we teach this actually in one of the classes, is to remember that the number one is still your baby.
Yes.
Even though number two is the baby, literally the baby, that sometimes you want to say you're the big sister now, you're the big brother now, but actually when the baby's the one that gets all the attention, to just remind them you're still my baby.
Yes.
To do that. And actually, that was such a great tip that I got given. So that's another thing that you can do.
Yes, definitely. So kind of like the way I would put it is like, you're my first baby, and now this is the second baby, and you're both my babies, and I love you both.
To just give them that kind of feeling
inclusive,
of,
less of a
you're still loved.
I was the baby and now I'm not.
Yes, that's right. Because I think a lot of people have a tendency to want to say you're the big brother now, and that almost like puts pressure on the child, doesn't it? Because it's a bit like, but hold on, the baby's the one that gets all the attention when they come home because you're so tired all the time.
Yes,
exactly like you said.
Yes.
And so so that's a really.
So I think you could call them a big brother, like you can use that language, but if you're noticing they're having more of a negative reaction and they're saying no baby, or I'm the baby, then it seems like they want to identify with the baby as well. But if they take pride in being the big sister or big brother, then I would sort of still go with that.
Oh, that's a good,
so it really kind of depends on the kid.
And how they're reacting.
Yes, because they might really like that role.
Yeah, because my daughter did actually. She did love it. So, but it was. I felt it was something that always stuck in my head. What do you think of giving gifts?
Giving gifts. So, I think that's a good idea. It doesn't even have to be like a toy or material thing. It can be something as simple as like a pin that says big sister or big brother, or even it doesn't have to be like a big elaborate thing, but it's just something to show them that they're loved, I suppose. Yes,
isn't
and
it?
I think that a lot of people come over, the house and to meet the new baby, and a lot of times there's presents for the new baby, and it's like, well, what about me?
Yeah.
So I know a lot of times when people came, they also brought a gift for
which is
my older one, which was really nice too, or even letting the older child help you open up the gift.
Oh, that's a nice idea.
So even though it's a present for the baby, but getting them involved.
Yeah, I love that idea.
It's kind of like a birthday party too. Like when you have a little one, like they can't pull out the candle, so the older kids kind of sometimes does it for them.
Yes.
So it's really just including them.
Yeah, of course. And what do you think of the idea? And this was something that I thought was quite novel. Is that okay? Hold on. So normally, I think what most people do when the baby comes home is that the baby buys the child a gift. But what do you think of the idea of the parent buying the older child the gift, and then the older child buying the baby the gift?
Picking out a gift for the baby.
Yeah.
That's
that's a different way to do it as well, isn't it? So, how did I say that again? So the parent would buy the older child the gift. And then the older child buys the baby the gift. And I think everyone's inclusive then, aren't they? And that might be another way of getting around it.
Another way to buy gift, I think too, I'd be like a t-shirt. One that says, big brother, big sister, and one that says little sister. So it's kind of, it's actually like the parent is going out with the older child, and it could be before the baby's born. Yeah. Of just, let's get a shirt for both of you, because you guys are brother and sister now, or sister and sister, whatever ends up happening.
I love that idea.
So it's just
like a little team.
Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty cute. I love that. Brilliant. Okay, so let's think about how do you deal with the baby coming home, and you've got an older child, let's say 3, 4, 5, and this child now all of a sudden aggressive starts wetting the bed.
Yes.
Because I know that's really common.
Yes.
Sucking their thumb.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, pooing on the kitchen floor, which we've had.
So I I would recommend before the baby comes, trying not to change a lot of things. So if your child does need to switch rooms, say, or they need to go from a crib to a big bed, I would do that a few months in advance, because you don't want everything to happen all at once.
That makes sense.
And even with
there's so much change, isn't there?
Yes. So kind of doing it ahead of time if you're going to do a change, or waiting even a few months out thereafter. So for instance, like I switched my daughter to her other room because that was the nursery, and we did that a few months before my second child. Yeah. And actually for her, I waited to do potty training because I knew if I had started her right before, there might be some regression.
Yes.
So just kind of being mindful of just all the change, because it is a lot. So trying to make it as consistent and just go with the routine as possible.
And when they're lashing out, let's say they're lashing out and they're, screaming at you and whatever it might be, and you can just tell that they're off and they're not happy and they're just feeling. How do you deal with those emotions? What do you say to them? Bearing in mind they're 3.
Yes.
So what do you say?
So a lot of that is actually like emotion coaching. Like you're trying to help them regulate and understand and manage their emotions because they're having trouble, and so they're acting out, they're screaming because they don't know how to calm themselves, they don't know how to make themselves feel better. So in times when they actually act out like that, I would try to provide them with more love. So instead of having a negative reaction to them, I would try to sort of soften. Do you need a hug? Are you upset? Are you sad? So you're identifying their feelings and then helping them to sort of feel better. So a hug is actually a pretty good way to regulate your body, because if you think about the sensory issues of it, helps to calm down, because they do need that love, and so they're just not able to say, "Mommy, I need a hug." Maybe they're just like in a negative way, but that's sort of they're saying, "I need help." Regulate my emotions and I can't.
Yeah. Amazing. Oh, Alisa, this has been so good. Okay, so let me just check my questions. I think we may have covered everything. Is there anything that you want to add?
Let's see. So we went through how to manage it and how. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
When you have more than one,
in the beginning, it's hard.
It's hard. It's very hard, and I think asking for help from others and just.
Oh yeah, let's talk about the mums.
Yes.
Actually, let's talk about you mummies.
Yes.
And the daddies.
Yes.
In the beginning, I think one of the things that I found very difficult is asking for help. I'm really not very good at that, but we need to do it, don't we?
Yeah.
It's really important. Get people to cook meals for you. Stick them in the freezer. What other kind of tips can we give the mums to get prepared?
Just lining up sort of your resources. Whether it's, freezing meals ahead of time, making sure childcare, or just whether your family's coming in, whether you have some friends nearby, just sort of getting yourself a little bit of a buffer. Yeah. Because those first 2 weeks, it's like, it's just kind of like continual. It's night and day are sort of the same.
Yeah, that's so true.
So just being gentle with yourself, just, there might be dirty dishes everywhere. It's like, it's okay. It's temporary. Rest when you can rest, because sleep deprivation is a real...
Yeah, the emotions that come following behind that.
Yes.
Jessica and I laugh all the time because if we don't get sleep, we
can't
deal with anything. Yeah. So, I know those feelings. And one of the things that I think, again, that I got a piece of advice that I got given, which was great, which was once you've got into your routine and you've got into your rhythm, don't always leave the dad or your partner to take the older one to their activities like swimming and this, that and the other. Sometimes it's nice to let the dad stay at home with the baby and you take the older one, because again, you're showing them that they're getting your attention and they're getting your love and that they're still included in everything that goes on. So that, again, that was a really good piece of advice that I got given, which was to make sure that you guys swap roles, basically.
Yes, and finding time for those moments. So whether the baby's sleeping and your older one's up, using that time to spend I call it special time. Yeah. Quality time. The one-on-one is important still. So it might be hard for the mom to separate from the baby, especially in the beginning if you're breastfeeding and stuff. So maybe leaving the house is not
an option.
But whether it's bedtime, and reading a book to them at night, or giving them a bath.
Oh, yeah.
Just finding moments to just spend some one-on-one time. It could be 5 minutes, but it's important to still have
5 minutes to them is like, I mean, my daughter says, how long is 5 minutes? Is that like 2 days? No, it's 5 minutes. Oh, Alisa, this has been wonderful. Thank you so much. So today's session has been adjusting your older children to a new baby coming into the house. And I think we've covered all different ages, and we've helped the mummies too, hopefully. So thank you so much for tuning in. Alisa, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our next session is...
You're looking at me.
No, I'm looking at Jessica. Jessica, wave at the camera.
It's with Barbara Greenspan.
Yes.
Is that right? Or
do you know? Have a look on the website,
yeah,
because we actually don't know. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. Have a good day.
Facebook Live.
Facebook Live.